Welcome to the mountain, where Jesus takes Peter, John and James to pray, each step to the summit, taking them further from their daily lives. In Luke's Gospel, one of the constants on the Jesus journey is prayer. There are 54 references to Jesus at prayer. There are also numerous incidences of Jesus teaching about prayer and how to pray, as well as others in prayer, such as Mary and Simeon. It is prayer that sustains Jesus right to his very last breath. Luke was writing his 2-volume work in a period of great challenges for the early church. For 6 days in 64 AD, a fire ravaged the centre of the imperial capital, Rome. The Emperor Nero saw the growing Christian community, with their heretical beliefs and practices, as an easy scapegoat. He quickly blamed Christians for starting the fire that had devastated so much of Rome. He turned Christians into living torches to light the forum and unleashed a reign of terror. This persecution would lead some Christians to betray one another, renounce their faith, and lose their sense of purpose and mission. Luke places the transfiguration of Jesus at a pivotal point in his good news. From here on, the journey of Jesus is focused on one destination, Jerusalem. In Luke's Gospel, Jesus is talking with Moses and Elijah, who appeared in glory and spoke of his departure. Luke constantly keeps the way of the cross before his readers. Even here on the mountaintop, in an intense experience of transcendence, otherworldliness, and encounter with the divine, Luke reminds us that this is not the end point in the journey of Exodus. Moses and Elijah had both heard the transformative voice of God on Mount Horeb, Sinai, in the midst of uncertainty and fear. Moses before the burning bush, and Elijah after the sound of sheer silence. Moses came down the mountain to become the liberator of the Jewish slaves in Egypt, when he declared to Pharaoh, "Let my people go." Elijah sets forth and eventually confronts King Ahab of Israel with his evil and unjust deeds. Luke writes to encourage a Christian community faced with persecution, death, and possible annihilation. He reminds the community that a life following Christ will shine forth with the glory of God, but it may also lead to the ultimate witness to their faith, to die as a martyr. For Luke, these are not two opposites. Both will reveal Jesus as a bridge between heaven and earth, and as the shining face of mercy that reawakens us to new life and instills in us the courage to look to the future with hope. For many people in a world torn apart by revenge and violence, words and deeds of mercy seem to make little sense. But because we have heard on the mountaintop God proclaim, "This is my Son, listen to him," we can be bearers of mercy for a world in desperate need of it. On the evening of the 17th of June 2015, a weekly scripture discussion group was gathering at an inner city church much like the one you are a part of now. That night, the pastor warmly welcomed someone new into the group. During the closing prayer, the 21-year-old visitor took out a revolver and within 90 seconds had shot and killed 9 of the 13 members of the study group. It was later revealed that the young white man had a clear purpose for his horrendous act of violence in this predominantly black church in Charleston, South Carolina. He was convinced that by his actions he would trigger and incite a race war of hate and revenge. His plan may very well have succeeded were it not for the words of a victim's daughter at the first court hearing soon after the shooting. The words of Nadine Collier were spontaneous, but they were also written in her heart from the scriptures. As she faced the assailant, she said, "I forgive you. You took something very precious away from me. I will never get to talk to her again, but I forgive you and have mercy on your soul. You hurt me, you hurt a lot of people. If God forgives you, I forgive you." Not all the victims' families could share the words of Nadine. The day after the shooting, Methodist, Catholic, Baptist, and many other churches organised prayer vigils. On the Sunday evening after the shooting, 12,000 people gathered at a city bridge to form a unity chain that stretched for over 3 kilometres. In the glow of sunset and the smiles and joined hands of so many different people, the words and deeds of mercy had shown that, even in the worst of circumstances, we can shine ever so brightly with the glory of God.